There are moments in life when faith doesn't collapse in anger. It fades quietly, after waiting too long for an answer. Daniel believed in effort, not blindly, not loudly, but deeply. He believed that if you worked honestly, waited patiently, and stayed consistent, life would eventually respond. For years, it seemed true. He did his work well. He stayed disciplined. He treated people fairly. And then, life went quiet. Applications were sent. No replies came back. Interviews happened. No follow-ups followed. Promises were made. Then, forgotten. At first, Daniel stayed calm. It's temporary, he told himself. Michael, his closest friend, didn't share that calm. One evening, over tea, Michael said, "Daniel, you've done everything right. Maybe it's time to stop waiting and start forcing things." Daniel nodded, but didn't reply. Because the truth was, he was already forcing himself just to keep believing. Weeks turned into months. Daniel still prayed, but his prayers changed. They became shorter, quieter, not because he had lost faith, but because he didn't know what to ask for anymore. Every morning, he checked his phone. Every evening, he put it down disappointed. Around him, people moved ahead. Michael switched jobs quickly. Others took shortcuts and still succeeded. Daniel stayed, not stuck, just waiting. One night, Michael finally said what Daniel feared hearing. "Maybe this is a sign. Maybe it's not meant for you." Daniel didn't argue. He went home that night and sat alone in the dark. For the first time, he didn't ask for success. He didn't ask for clarity. He whispered, "I'm still here, even though I don't understand why." There was no answer, just silence. At work, Daniel kept showing up. Not with hope, not with excitement, but with integrity. That's when Mrs. Evelyn noticed him. She was older, soft-spoken, often overlooked. One afternoon she said gently, "You're very consistent." Daniel smiled politely. She added, "Consistency is hard when no one is watching." That was all she said. But those words stayed with him. Something changed in Daniel after that. Not externally, internally. He stopped measuring his days by outcomes. He started measuring them by effort. He worked because it was right, not because it was rewarded. He helped others quietly, stayed prepared, stayed steady. Michael couldn't understand it. "Why are you still this calm?" he asked one day. "I would have given up." Daniel replied honestly, "I thought about it, but quitting felt heavier than continuing." Months later, without warning, Mrs. Evelyn called Daniel aside. "I recommended you," she said. They needed someone dependable. Not impressive, dependable. It wasn't a big role. It wasn't instant success. But it was movement. And more importantly, it was earned. Slowly, doors began opening. Not because Daniel waited, but because Daniel endured. Michael watched quietly this time. One evening, he admitted, "I thought silence meant nothing was happening." Daniel smiled softly. "So did I." Daniel understood something then. Faith wasn't rewarded with instant answers. It was rewarded with strength. The silence hadn't been abandonment. It had been shaping. If success had come earlier, he might not have become this steady. Faith doesn't always come back as a miracle. Sometimes it returns as resilience, as clarity, as quiet confidence. Sometimes the reward is not what you prayed for, but who you become while waiting. Silence does not mean you are forgotten. Sometimes it means you are being prepared. If this story touched you, share it with someone who feels unseen right now. And for more real stories about life, faith, and inner strength, subscribe to Tales Beyond Theory. If you are still waiting, stay honest, stay steady. Faith tested in silence is often rewarded in time.